What if Yoriichi became the very thing he swore to destroy? Let's get this straight. Muzan is the OG Demon King. Arrogant, ruthless, and the reason the entire Demon Slayer series exists. But there's one man who terrified Muzan to his very core. Yoriichi Tsugikuni, the Sunbreather, the ghost of regret. Now imagine if he became a demon. Nah, scratch that. What if Yoriichi became the next Demon King? Yoriichi's story starts the same. He's born with the cursed mark, trains in secret, loses his wife and unborn child to a demon, joins the core, not for glory, but for grief. Then, he becomes legend. The first Sunbreather, so powerful Muzan panics. Yoriichi slices him into 1,800 pieces, nearly ends him. Nearly. But fate doesn't reward heroes, it punishes them. His brother Michikatsu joins Muzan, becomes Kokushibo Upper Moon 1, and even though Yoriichi had nothing to do with it, the core turned on him. They say, atone for your brother, die with honor. But instead, he's banished, betrayed, alone, banished by the very people he bled for. Yoriichi walks away from humanity. At first he hunts alone, wandering like a myth, slaying demons in silence. Before he leaves for good, he visits the Kamado family, leaves them his Hanafuda earrings, passes on sunbreathing, knowing he won't return. Then, the warmth in him dies. One night, he finds Muzan again, cowering in the dark, and instead of finishing the job, Yoriichi says the unthinkable, "Make me a demon." Muzan laughs until he sees Yoriichi's eyes, cold, serious. And desperate to survive, Muzan gives in. He floods Yoriichi with his blood, hoping it'll kill him. It doesn't. He doesn't go feral. He doesn't lose himself. He stays Yoriichi. Just sharper, colder, stronger. And in that moment, the world's strongest demon is born. Not to serve Muzan, but to burn the world that betrayed him. Yoriichi joins Muzan's ranks, but not like the others. He doesn't kneel, doesn't pledge loyalty. He just appears. Muzan, always the puppet master, sets the scene. Upper rank 1, defend your title. It's not a request, it's a death match. Kokushibo unleashes centuries of rage. Yoriichi draws his sword. Calm. This duel is quick and violent. Kokushibo goes all out, but Yoriichi dismantles him limb by limb, movement by movement, and in the end, he spares him. Not out of love, out of dominance. From that moment, Yoriichi will become upper rank 1. But let's be real, he's more than that. He's the storm inside the throne room, the power Muzan can't control. So Yoriichi plays the long game. He follows orders, gains trust, watches, until one night, he moves. He lures Muzan in for a strategy meeting. Muzan steps into the room, probably smug. But before he can speak, Yoriichi strikes, a blade through the chest, a flash of sunlight steel. Muzan tries his trick, splits his body into fragments. Too late. Yoriichi cuts each one midair. Muzan Kibutsuji, the Demon King for 1,000 years, dies alone, screaming. And from his ashes, a new king rises, out for vengeance. Yoriichi Tsugikuni, the Sunblood Tyrant, Demon King. With Muzan gone, you'd expect chaos, but Yoriichi, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't gloat. He doesn't crown himself. He just sits at the head of the table, and the rest follow. Daki and Gyutaro would be shaking. Akaza would be quiet for once. Kokushibo, humiliated but alive. Yoriichi doesn't need fear to lead. He is fear. He kills nothing that night, but changes everything. He bans mindless slaughter, orders structure, sets ranks. No more random attacks, no more chaos. The demons now march in unison. And the Demon Slayer Corps? They don't even know Muzan's dead. They just know something worse has taken his place. Yoriichi's rule isn't loud. It's cold, efficient, inevitable. He starts turning Slayers. Not just with power, but with ideology. Ex-Hashira, ex-Slayers, all turn. Some want revenge. Others just want to survive. The army will grow. The demon army becomes an empire. But you know what always comes next? Rebellion from within. Power invites obedience, but too much of it invites knives in the dark. And Kokushibo, upper rank 1, now demoted, hasn't forgotten humiliation. He watches Yoriichi sit on a throne of discipline and order, a throne Kokushibo believes should have been his. Small cracks form in Yoriichi's empire. Resentful lower moons, disillusioned new recruits, demons who never asked for honor, just hunger. Kokushibo feeds the fire. He gathers the angry, the bitter, the ones who miss chaos, and like that, rebellion brews. They don't strike in the open, they wait until one night, they move. A midnight coup, an ambush inside Infinity Castle. Kokushibo leads the charge. Daki and Gyutaro flank. Dozens of rogue demons follow. Their goal? End the new king. But Yoriichi isn't caught off guard. He let them grow. Let them gather. Because this wasn't a surprise. This was bait. Infinity Castle shifts. Walls close. Doors vanish. From the shadows, loyalists emerge. Akaza, Kaigaku, mid-rank demons. All ready, all waiting. The trap snaps shut. What happens next? Not a war, a slaughter. Infinity Castle howls, not with screams of battle, but with the silence that follows a door locking shut. Kokushibo's rebels realize too late. They're not storming the castle, they're inside a coffin. Yoriichi steps forward, no speech, no flair, just presence. Then the floor tilts, walls twist. Nakime, the castle's puppet master, plays her strings. Rebel demons plummet into isolated chambers. Some find themselves alone, facing Kaigaku's lightning. Others drop into freezing halls ruled by Akaza's wrath. Every room is a death sentence. Kokushibo faces his twin. Yoriichi doesn't gloat, doesn't hesitate. He draws his blade, sunlit in a tomb of shadow. End it, Kokushibo growls, but Yoriichi doesn't. He wounds, he maims, he spares. Not out of mercy, but to remind him, I'm still better. The purge lasts minutes. The rebellion is crushed. After the purge, the demon world goes quiet, but not peaceful, never peaceful. Because power vacuums don't stay empty, they rot. And out of that rot, new demons begin to rise. Not the elegant killers of Muzan's age, not the loyalists forged under fear. These are different. Slayers turn demons, bitter, twisted, burning with betrayal. Some turned willingly, seduced by Yoriichi's strength. Others, broken, remade, and weaponized. Their breathing forms, twisted mockeries. Sun breathing becomes ash breathing, destructive, volatile. Water becomes blood surge. Thunder mutates into crackle pulse. And leading them, not Yoriichi, not Kokushibo, but someone new. A prodigy born of the ashes of rebellion. Yoriichi sees in him something terrifying. Potential. So he does the unthinkable. He trains him. Now there are only two classes. The Flameborn and the Ashen. The Flameborn are elite, trained in corrupted breathing forms, selected by Yoriichi himself. The Ashen, cannon fodder, soldiers, disposable. But even among the Ashen, something is changing. They're evolving faster, fighting smarter, dying less. Because under Yoriichi's rule, demons don't just survive, they adapt. While demons evolve, the world of the living bleeds. The Demon Slayer core, a shadow of what it was. Most of the old Hashira are dead or turned. The remaining ones, scattered, tired, outnumbered. But legacies have a funny way of surviving. One night, deep in the forest, an old man lights incense at a forgotten shrine. He's no warrior, just a descendant. One of the Ubuyashiki line, the family that once held the core. He kneels and prays, not for victory, but for guidance. And he isn't alone. From the ruins, remnants gather. A retired water Hashira missing an arm. A wind breather who never got ranked. Even a former Kakushi, now training orphans in secret. They meet in whispers, plan in shadows. They call it Project Dawn. No flashy name, no grand speeches, just one goal. Rebuild, quietly, ruthlessly, smart. They start recruiting, not the strongest, but the most unpredictable. And slowly, like embers under ash, a new core begins to burn. You ever see a storm before it hits? That eerie stillness, the kind that makes your bones ache. That's what it felt like before Tanjiro awakened. The Kamado boy, once gentle and pure. He died the night his family was slaughtered, again. But what rose from that grave wasn't just another demon, it was Tanjiro the Reaper. Every night he trained in silence, not for revenge anymore, for precision, for war. His blade, blackened by biokinesis, humming with a pulse of its own, and his eyes, void of hesitation. Kokushibo, now weakened and dying, gave him everything. All the forms, all the history, all the sins. Because Tanjiro wasn't just aiming to kill Yoriichi, he wanted to undo him. Every lesson had one goal, kill a god. And one night, it clicks. He's not dancing now, he's hunting. Word spreads fast. A demon is rising through the ranks, cutting down allies and rebels alike. Upper moons vanish, entire battalions go dark. And behind it all, a single boy with sunlit scars and a black blade. Yoriichi finally notices, and for the first time, he feels something. Not fear, curiosity. The final battlefield wasn't chosen, it was drawn. Tanjiro carved a path of ruin across demon territory, smoke trailing behind him like a black halo. The world watched in silence, waiting for the inevitable clash. And then, he arrived at Infinity Castle, alone. No army, no fanfare. Just one demon with a heartbeat that echoed like war drums. Even the castle knew fear. Inside, Yoriichi waited, still, regal, drenched in shadow. No taunts, no welcome. Just that same blade he once raised to protect the innocent, now stained with centuries of conquest. He stepped forward, unsheathing his blade without a sound, like thunder cracking through bone. The air folded, reality bent, and then hell began. Sword met sword, sun met void, legacy met vengeance. They didn't fight like demons, they fought like gods. Every slash tore open walls, every breath became a weapon. Infinity Castle twisted, struggling to contain them. The floor cracked, the sky flickered, time itself seemed to stutter. Yoriichi was still faster, but Tanjiro was unreadable. He didn't follow patterns, he broke them, bent them, void breathing. A technique with no rhythm, just chaos. Even Transparent World couldn't predict him. For the first time since Muzan, Yoriichi was on the defensive, and that terrified him. He lashed out, blades, claws, pure demonic force, but Tanjiro didn't flinch. He moved like a shadow already cast. Then he found the opening. Right between heartbeats, he struck. Yoriichi's blade shattered, so did his mask. And for a moment, all that power, all that wrath, cracked. Behind it, a broken man, a grieving brother, a ghost. Tanjiro raised his blade again, but this time he hesitated, not out of mercy, out of clarity. And he drove the blade home, straight through Yoriichi's heart. The Demon King didn't scream, he smiled, and turned to ash. Not as a monster, but as a man, finally free. Silence. That's all that remained after Yoriichi's fall. No war cry, no victory chant, just the hiss of dissolving ash, and a boy standing in the rubble of a broken world. Tanjiro Kamado, the demon who ended the Demon King. Half man, half monster, fully conscious. He knelt, not in surrender, in choice. A Hashira stepped forward, Sanemi, sword in hand, breathing ragged. They lowered their blades, because how do you kill the one who saved the world? The Demon Slayer Corps didn't rebuild, it evolved, with Tanjiro as its blade, not its symbol. He refused the title, he refused the throne, but he stayed, training the next generation, teaching them the truth behind strength, behind rage, behind mercy. The demon who saved humanity, the Ghost Fire General. But Tanjiro, he just called himself a brother. That brings us to the end of What If Yoriichi Became the Demon King. If this alternate story wrecked your brain in the best way, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and drop your own what if scenario in the comments. Because this universe, we're just getting started.